Sounds good. Let's go ahead and open it up to questions. If you could raise your hand, state your name and your affiliation. We'll start up here with Tom, and then we'll go back to Bob, and then work our way over.
Hi, Denny. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. When you got one guy who's so dominant at the track as Harvick has been here recently, how much of a challenge does that pose to you, and what do you guys have to try to do differently?
Well, we try to identify the areas that, we're getting beat, and, right now it's a little bit of everything in my opinion, but, some tracks just work well for drivers, and they have that special chemistry, and their driving style fits a particular racetrack, and, we all know, most of us know what it takes to go around here fast, but, getting that out of our race car is the challenge, and what they've done is they've gotten it out of their race car. So that for us is, our biggest focus is not trying to beat necessarily one car, but how can we come here and be more competitive than what we were last time here? Because we weren't just beat by one car, we were off quite a bit. So I think it's just improving upon how we ran here in the chase race.
Bob, do you still have a question?
Bob Pockris, ESPN. One of the kind of comeback stories this year has been Martin Truex Jr., just from a bad season last year to this year. And you've been racing against him for 10 years. What did you see in him 10 years ago when you were kind of racing him in back in the Busch series, what was called back then? And then, what do you see? Did you have any wonderment about whether he'd ever be able to kind of get back racing with the leaders after what you saw last year?
NASCAR racing so much today is about how fast your car is when it unloads from the trailer. And, he was with MWR during the tough times. He was there in the good times and won some races with them. And then obviously when you go to a single car team, you typically think performance will drop, but I think he's done a really good job of optimizing over these last few years with Furniture Row what he's been given. And now that it looks like RCR has gotten better, they probably reap some of the benefits of that. So, resurgence of drivers and downward spiral of drivers, it's not because... I hate to say it's mostly not because of the drivers. It's just because the teams are going through lulls or what have you, or their manufacturer is. So, I think he's running to the full potential of what his cars are, and right now they look like they have top 5 speed every week. So that is more the resurgence of Truex, is that he's got a better machine under him than he's had over the last few years.
Mike Hemby, USA Today. 2 things, Denny. Have you talked with Kyle recently, and how's he handling everything?
It seems well. He's somewhat chatty through the text that we have. He's definitely paying a lot of attention to the races and what he sees from the outside. So I think he's very engaged and obviously, making the best of the situation that he's got. So I know when I was out 2 years ago, it just gives you a different perspective and a different way to look at things. And I'm sure coming back, he'll probably be a lot more appreciative of the time that he's got inside that race car, because he knows how quickly it can go away. So, Kyle is it's a shame because we just had our driver lineup right where we wanted it, with the 4 of us, and we felt like, this is going to be a good thing. And I was looking forward to hearing some more feedback from Kyle. But obviously David's done a great job, but we're excited to get Kyle back just as soon as we can, just for the reason that, this is the 4-driver dynamic that Joe put together, and, we hope to bring our race teams, all of them, up to a higher level, because right now we're just missing just a little something.
Okay.
Going back to...
let's go Jenna, then Claire, and Stan, and then the gentleman in the back. Oh, sorry.
Jennifer.
And then Jeff. Oh, Mike, do you have another one? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Going back to Fontana next week, they announced some more changes this week, which won't be ready next week. But are you satisfied with how things are now there, safety-wise?
I haven't seen the racetrack. I think more and more now we're starting to put more eyes on where safer barriers are. So I haven't seen it. I haven't asked to see it, but I'm assuming that from talks that I've talked to with Jeff, I believe that the meeting he had with NASCAR was well, and that they're doing everything they can to make sure the changes are happening as fast as they can. So I'm assuming that the job is going to get done quickly and right. So when we get there, we've got somewhere safe to race on.
Denny, you were pretty good at Atlanta before the accident, and then you had a good finish last week. Is it where you guys are as the 11 team, or is this rules package suiting you?
It's really tough to say. I mean, I wouldn't think that this rules package would suit me and my style particularly. I'd rather have 1,000 horsepower than 700. The less downforce, I would say, probably does suit me a little bit better. But I think, we've just kind of optimized where we've been at. We've been a top 5 car every week, like you're talking about. It's a shame I made a mistake at Atlanta and spun out, but we were top 5 for sure, going to finish there, I thought. So we're top 5, but we're still just a little bit behind on speed from where we need to from the 4 and then the Hendrick cars. But it's all about for us right now is trying to find that little bit of extra speed. We're way closer than what we were with our 11 team at this time last year. So pretty optimistic about what's to come in the months, and then hopefully if we can make it in the chase, then we can make another run at it.
And last week you ran the nationwide race. I think it was your first one in a while. You've got more coming up. How do you like doing that again?
I do like it. I didn't like it for many, many years. I mean, I enjoyed last week, even though we didn't run that well. I think sometimes it can benefit you, and I think that the rules packages are now a little bit closer to where it probably can benefit you to run a few Xfinity races. And so for me, I thought it was time for me to kind of get back and start running a few more, just to see if I can find anything that can make me better on Sundays. And even though I typically don't like doing double duty, I mean the stats show that I always run better Sunday when I race on Saturday. So I don't know why, but it's happened.
Let's go ahead, Claire, and then Stan and Jeff, and then Reed.
Claire Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Are you shifting here, and can you talk about the shifting at this track?
I hope it. I wish NASCAR would really come up with a ban on that. I mean, there's no reason why we should be shifting on mile racetracks. I mean, this is a short track. This is not a road course. Make the gearing so we cannot shift, because it's just dumb for us to have the option to be able to shift. I mean, everything that they're trying to do with the whole gear rule and less horsepower, it throws all that out of the window when you're able to go out here and shift. So it'll be an option. People are going to try to do it. I'm sure late in the runs it will be effective. But, it's just with the gear taken out and the horsepower, we're just lugging off these corners, and you're just flat-footing it. And it's just not... can't, as a driver, it's tough to be able to try to race that way. So we're having to shift to try to get up off the corner. So just hopefully looking forward, we could change it to where you don't have to do that.
So if others shift, are you forced to shift, and can you not and compete, or because you said it's dumb?
You can. I think on restarts, most everyone probably will shift when you're all bottled up. I think people will be successful both ways, but it's just that option that's come on, we're on a short track. Why are we shifting? So.
Stan Creekmore with CompetitionPlus.com. Harvick, just kind of a simple question. Were you all practicing for the race this morning, or were you practicing more, for qualifying?
We practice mostly for the race. Obviously, like I talked about before, this is our, the few laps we have around here for these next 2 days is our test session to try to get better for November. This is one of the most critical races when it comes to the chase, and so we're trying to do everything we can to focus every lap on the racetrack in race trim and getting better in that format.
Jeff Clark from USA Today. Last year going into Fontana, you were highly motivated to go there and win. You said it was in your top 3 tracks where you wanted to go back and get a win because of everything that happened in 2013. Then you didn't get a chance to race there. What's your level of motivation like going into that race now, and how much are you hoping to avoid, just have an easy weekend compared to the last 2 years there?
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited, especially that, we had ran happy hour, and I thought that we were a car that could compete for a win. And so I'm just as motivated. I mean, the last race laps I ran around there is when I got crashed on the last lap, racing for a win. So, I mean, ultimately, my motivation is to go there and perform at a really high level. So it's been circled for like a year or two now to run well there. I didn't get a chance last year, and hopefully I will this year.
Gentleman in the back.
Ryan O'Hara, Race Chaser Online. My question for you is, we saw in practice today, we saw a lot of guys swapping the lead back and forth, which is unusual here at Phoenix. We saw Jimmy Johnson, Truex, Newman giving challenges to Kevin Harvick, who's been the king here for a little while. My question for you is, do you believe that it's a combination of the rules packages and increasing competition?
You might have to ask that on Sunday. I mean, passing will be difficult. Passing's been difficult here really ever since the repave, but I think it will be even more difficult with less gear, less horsepower. Tires aren't going to wear out as much. So I think passing will be difficult. So I think it's too, you can't really go by practice because different people are going into qualifying trim at different times. So they jump up to the top, and then the guys who have been in race trim will go to qualifying and they'll jump back up. So I think a lot of the switching you saw in speed and practice isn't really indicative of what we're going to see for racing.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Denny, you talked about the dynamic of the 4 drivers at Gibbs. With Kyle out, how acutely do you guys feel that missing piece in terms of the input and the feedback, and what kind of effect does that have on the whole organization?
Well, you definitely miss that feedback, and really you miss it more during the week than the weekend. Kyle's usually running Xfinity races, so for years on end, it's been me just kind of sitting in the hauler debriefing with all the crew chiefs, and all my other teammates are running Xfinity, so I don't get a whole lot of input. But this year with Carl not really running any, Matt's running less, there's more communication now than what there's ever been, even though Kyle's missing. So we miss him more during the week, listening to how his race went, how we can improve upon that. But he's an important part of it. I mean, until the 4th car came this year, he was 33% of the information that went through that race team, and it's just a little bit different there without him, for sure.
Are there any more questions? All right, Denny, good luck this weekend, and thanks for coming in.